Hello VOD people, hi. I did not expect to be able to stream tonight, but I luckily was able to get home at a good time. It is hot as hell today, so there's probably going to be frequent breaks. I apologize for that. Boop. At everyone, I need the actual link. There's the link. Okay. I did not have time to research the structures. I did not have time to do that. I need this hammer. Oh wait, hold on. Edit message. I made the thumbnail. Where's the thumbnail? Thumbnail. Exports. You. There you are. Beautiful. I'm having fun with these thumbnails, by the way. I'm having a lot of fun making them. The way I've been making the thumbnails for Amalgamation, specifically getting this hammer, has absolutely 100% changed the way I'm making thumbnails from now on. It is hot as hell today. It is hot as hell right now. What am I saying? That's what I'm saying. Okay. I have a lot of notifications. I need to turn that off. Alright. It is hot as hell today. It's by far not the hottest it's going to be, but it's the hottest it's been. It is like 95 right now. Usually my area, the highest we get is like 103 something, 105. Not the absolute hottest, but it's, again, the hottest it's been. We're gonna be safe. Hello, welcome. I assume that's Pumpkin. Yep, it is. We're gonna be safe about this. It's hot as hell. As soon as this water bottle ever gets empty, I'm gonna go refill it. We're gonna take this as much as I need to, but we need to get the netherite today. Thankfully, I got 2/3 of it last stream. How's it colder here than where you are? I do not know. We have, like, no clouds today, either. There's been no clouds today. It is 95. 0 humidity. Like, next to no breezes. We're too far inland. Not a goddamn breeze to be found. And I was out in the sun earlier today. So that's fun. But so far it doesn't seem like I got really sunburn at all, thankfully. I have 25% humidity. I'm guessing we had no humidity. I don't think we have had any. What is the actual humidity? Because it doesn't, there's like none. Yeah, I know it's 95. Where? Pollen, fire, precipitation. Just want to see how humid it is. Humidity, 22%. Okay. Not a lot, but it's less than yours. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. This app's a liar. It's a... I always know it's a liar, but I find it hilarious. It's like, oh, it's 95, but it feels like 92 right now. It feels hot. They should change it from saying what the temperature it feels like to it feels really hot today. Because it is. Okay. We are going to get shit done. I already have the game up. We're making the thumbnail. We need to get this done today. It has to be done today. I'm gonna take frequent breaks because it's hot as hell. I need water, but otherwise. Also, hi Axe. Hello, welcome. Mine says it's 58, but it feels like 83. What? What did I just do? What did I just kill? Okay. Like, there's no way it's 58, for real. We got almost everything for the Destructor Hammer last time. I have 2 blocks of netherite. I need 3 blocks of netherite and 3 ingots in addition to that. Because we need all of this, and in order to make the destruction core... Because I need the 3 blocks here, and then even to make the destructor core, you need to start with a netherite hammer, which requires another 3 ingots. So, we need 30 total. We currently are at 18. Anyway, I'm gonna be on lurk because I'm binge watching Cold Rust Crocheting. Alrighty. That is 13. That don't sound right. 12. I need 12. 12, not 13. Hi. Hello. Boink. I love bonking people into tomorrow. Oh, my stupid speed. I forgot. I forgot. I'm way too speedy for my own good. Oh. I regret. Oh, I have regrets. I have many regrets. Okay, yeah, that'll do. Have I been in this one yet, though? Have I been in this one yet? I might have. I don't know. I don't know. Have I been in here? I'm not letting that wither skelly touch me. No, thank you. No. No, no, thank you, good sir. Not today, kind sir. Don't need it. Have I been here? Because if I remember right, bastions are pretty good, and the nether fortresses are pretty good. For netherite. And unfortunately, this is mostly just me going through a lot of chests and seeing if they actually have anything. I did manage to get a lot of editing done, though, before I left, because I've been gone all weekend. A nice weekend away. Went to my first run fair, so that was fun as hell. There were fun shows. I did not agree with the temperature. Thankfully, the place we went, like a decent portion, almost the entirety of the fair was covered by treetops, which is so great. Absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna assume we've already been here and carry on. Okay, I feel like we're gonna have to go real far out if I wish to find new stuff, because I need new bastions. I would really love to find treasure bastions and just continuously steal from those, because if we can do that, I can get the ingots really quickly, and then we can be done with this. Simple as that. That's all we need to do. The question is, can I? We went that way, and we went down there for the altar. We haven't quite gone direct east, actually. At least not from this area. Oh, nope. Bonked to my head. There we go. Still hate the speed, still love the camp. What is going on? I understand this is like a pillager tower, but piglins. I just got catfished. I thought that was a way to get out and around this stupid mountain. What here? What you? I doubt you will... Yeah, you're striders. I doubt you will ever have netherite, but... Wait, hold on. My flag collection. my banner collection. My banners. Okay, I just want to get far out this way. Oh, right, I have my chunks on super low so the stream can actually function, which I'm amazed it has. I also turned down some other settings, so hopefully that'll help stream not die all the time. That is the current plan. So hopefully that'll help everything. I imagine it will, in addition to me having the settings low, so it shouldn't be bad. It shouldn't be functioning too bad. I think I have the camera just a tad bit too high. Oh, I barely missed lava. Wonderful. I'm too speedy. Too speedy. Get me around here. I just want to head straight out this way. Yeah. Okay. Send me to a bastion. There's one 300 this way. I better not have been to it before. I probably have, though. Oh, it doesn't... I don't actually have this area of the map explored at all. I should be fine. Is it around the corner? Because, please be a treasure. Please. Yep. Temple! Wait, hold on. I forget you. I want my banners! Yep. Breaker. We don't need no TNT. We don't need to trigger anything. You don't have my banners? How rude. You're meanie butt. Did y'all steal the banners? They're level 72. What fantastic. Gotta love that. Can I quickly snag y'all? And then we can carry on with our day, because I have a lot of stuff to do. I've been here before! I literally sat on this edge. That piglin bruise from me knocking him down there in that hole. Okay, we carry on. Apparently I have not gone far enough. Jeez. No one... How did I not see the temple then? The temple is so obvious right there. How did I not see that last time? That's crazy. Please. Oh, fortress. This better be a new one. Where is your dungeon? Dungeons? Are you the thing I require? No, you are not. Where is your basement? Hello, where's your basement? Where's your big boy tower? Where's the basement? Drawbridge? Basement. Not that corner, this corner. Hello there. I don't think I've been here yet, so I'm gonna just... Yeah, none of these are good. We're just gonna break in. Just break everything. Pretty please, give me some goodies. I adore looking down and just seeing the stupid shark totem. It really does not work well with the Charm of Undying. It does. Lodestone. It does. This is why we do this. 11 to go. 10 and a half, because I have the 2 debris. I have 2 scrap. 10 and a half. Okay. I think that's a lot easier for my brain to comprehend than however many scrap that would be. 1248? Something. Ooh, how? You. Explode. Explodey. Explosion. Thank you. I'm not gonna lag out my game more by not picking this stuff up. Golden apples, I'll take it. I'll take him. I actually kind of want that netherrack. Sometimes having building blocks is useful, especially when I have wither skellies that are level 72. I don't want them touching me. No. That is not fun. That's not fun for nobody. I'm going around a bunch of dead ends right now. This way... Not that way. What's that? I swear, if I don't find anything else for the rest of this, that'll be hilarious. Just a singular piece of netherite immediately, and nothing else. No. Why is there a bell? No. There's some good stuff in those chests, but I only require netherite. That is the one thing I desire. Now, could I please get some? Pretty please. Pretty please. I would love that. Oh, I would love that. If every single corridor could give me a netherite ingot, I would love that. That is the plan. It's not gonna happen, though. Yes, it's not gonna happen. No way in hell is that happening. I honestly can't wait for the next run we do of this. I'm really excited to do something that isn't this build and challenge myself even more. This build has been fun, it's been an interesting challenge, but it's to a point where I understand how to do all of this now. And I probably should have cut this off after I defeated all the bosses and then done a new build for the Destructor Hammer, but it's too late now. It is far too late now. And I think the Ascendant mobs alone will be its own fun challenge, because I already had overpowered gear. That's the only reason I've survived the Ascendant mobs. Playing with them from the start is certainly going to be interesting. And it's only with pure strats and a lot of power that I'm fighting these guys as well as I am. Because see, that fight was easy. I talked the entire time through it. Previously, I wasn't even... I wasn't even talking through it. 9.5. Oh. See, yeah, we can just... I can steal. I can be bothered to just sit through a couple ticks of damage. It just takes one ratatouille, that's all it does. And then I'm back up to full health. Actually, can I start putting through? Yeah! Let's see if I can get 60 health, or the rest of my netherite first. Nope. Did that trigger it? No? Okay. Cool. Nope. Oh, it did trigger it. Okay. Oh no, what I think happened is the fire that was there lit on fire the TNT. Because I saw the fire spread underneath the chest. Okay. Nonetheless, it did eventually explode. But yeah, I am really excited for the next run we do. Because I am loving this so much. Like, I adore Passion SMP as well, but this has been seriously fun to go about. And I'm hoping that I'm going to be adjusting my streaming schedule, so it will just be Sundays from now on. But I can't next Sunday, because Father's Day. I would rather not. Thank you, I want to spend time with my papa. What is going on in there? Things are spawning, that's what. I'm unable to next Sunday, so at the end of June, wait. No, not even the 22nd, I'm busy 22nd. 29th is when we start every Sunday. And then I will be streaming 18th and 25th. Because I had to look up for a second and realize, wait, no. Can't do the 22nd, I'm busy that day. Alright, that's 2 netherite ingots for this. I think that's one of the best we've ever had. Have I ever gotten 2 netherite ingots from one thing? I don't think so. That was great. It wasn't... What? That one's destroyed. But... Oh, I destroyed that one too. Okay, never mind. I'm like, how did I already been here? How did been here before if netherite ingots? But I was being a silly, so it's fine. And that's not the way we want to go. What? How did I miss you? How did I miss you? Ooh. I mean, we could just do this. And then they can't come get me. Yep. Boop. Oh, you suck. Boop. No. I said no. Oh, I love... What are all of you doing? Okay. Anything in here for me? No. Okay. We go... Well, first we get rid of all the piglins, and then we go to the next floor. I love my knockbacks. I love my knockback so much. Oh, come on. I just want to boop you. I just want to boop you. Thank you. Hmm? Oh, the hoglin spawn down below. Okay, there's a hoglin spawner down there, man. Wonderful. Yep. I know you're a brute, but couldn't you please die, perhaps? Thank you. Yeah, hi you. Can we carry this along? Pretty please. If you could actually, like, stay there and not take any knockback, that'd be lovely. Oh. Well, your corpse is allowed to take knockback, because that's really fucking funny, actually. Oh, the pit. The hoglins are spawning yet, right there. Hello, everybody. Thanks for inviting me to the party. Bye-bye. Really? Oh, y'all suck. Y'all suck. Boop. The fart. I did update the sound alerts. I have updated the sound alerts, and I love it. I had to... Sound alerts has not been good for a while. Their homepage really sucks, and it's mostly just heavy brain rot content. Why are you getting hammer? Why not? I'm aware that says hammered. I'm going to assume that is a typo. I want my destruction hammer because it's a ridiculous goal and I've regretted it every time. Sure, let's assume. I will assume. Because this is not Shadow the Hedgehog appropriate. Would that be Shadow the Hedgehog appropriate? These are serious questions we must ask. I am dying of lack of root beer floats. I could have had a root beer float the other day. Root beer float does sound good, though. Granted, I just had ice cream. I managed to stop by somewhere on the way home, and so I had, like, a brownie ice cream. I stopped by insert some trademark place. Give me that 2 ancient debris. Oh, the funniest thing while editing? I clicked the wrong button, is what I did, apparently. During editing, I thought I missed a whole 4 pieces of ancient debris. Keep in mind, when my screen is up, my footage screen was up, it's like this big. Is this small? It wasn't ancient debris, it was soul sand in a chest. I was like, I need to find out where this place is. And then I zoomed in the video footage. It was soul sand. I got cottage cheese on my chin. Respectfully judging? What do you mean respectfully judging? I'm gonna judge you for cottage cheese. How's them apples? Nothing in there. Oh. Root beer? What do you mean? Root beer is delicious. You are in the minority of this. Root beer is good. No, see, I'm used to cottage cheese because majority of it sucks. What? You're the one in poor taste here, I hope you know. Yeah, these guys are not worth it. I'm gonna do this, and then... Oh, well. Rocket, please. Rocket? Can I rocket out of here? There we go. What was that? The only one is mug root beer, and why would you ruin it with vanilla ice cream? It makes sponge ice cream. You have bad taste buds, my friend. Also, mug root beer is usually considered the bad one. I'm saying this as a person that loves mug root beer, by the way. I will take any root beer that you give me, honestly. How does one fix? Reconnection successful. Oh, we're back! Lovely. I love when stream decides to crash for no apparent reason. I don't know why it does that. I really don't. I've even turned down settings in order to make it so it doesn't. Yeah, that sounds about right. This is one of the first times I've actually caught a crash, though, and it's purely because of chat. Thank you, Plush. I really don't know why that happened. Oh, well, there they go. I really don't know why that happens. There's a chest. Gimme. Oh. But Mal, you said L on my end and almost crashed on my side. That's how it goes. No. You're not allowed to spawn. Ever. Get out of my face. Thank you. I gotta love stream crashing at just the perfect moment. I'm still pissed off that the stream crashed because of the absurd amount of silverfishes that I accidentally spawned. And I think I'm rightfully allowed to be a little upset that the crash-worthy thing was the thing that crashed my stream, because it was funny. There were so many silverfish that stream genuinely full. I'm not paying enough attention. I forgot that it's stupid Ascendant mobs. And they're overpowered as hell. Okay. Makes it worth it. Makes it worth it immediately. That's 4 out of 12 ingots now. Okay, I'm gonna assume this is the bottom. No. Oh my god, so here lately, me and a friend have been randomly DMing each other colors, and we do it till we either run out of mental capacity or we re-say a color. But I just hot this man with baby Oh, I just hit this man with baby shit green. And of course there's nothing in there. Get rid of all that. Is this a bot? Yes. Thank you, Nightbot. Keep. Oh, you suck. Let me out. Let me out. There we go. Let me go. I'm almost tempted not to do the next spiral because I no longer have a totem. Wait, hold on, solutions. We have the warp stone. There's an ender chest at spawn. This is actually an ender chest backpack. I'm placing a waystone here and naming it Far East, so I remember what it is. Let me reorganize these because I will forget to reorganize them. Okay. Lot more comfy doing this now. Hi, buddy. Why are you low health? Why are you already low health? Like, everybody else is 400. Why are you under 100? Oh, I have XP. Add to my own health. There we go. I will have 3 full rows before... Oh. Well, now I have less than 2 full rows, apparently. Oh, hi, sir. Good thing I didn't drop down. We've ran for so long, we just realized we haven't said normal colors. Like, we've been saying ones like London Purple, Crimson, Blood Red, Chartreuse, Festaware Orange. I love that I immediately know what shade of orange you're talking about. Vermilion, etc., and we haven't said normal colors. That is fantastic. I'm gonna break in. Oh. Well, aren't you two lovely? Now, if I could just sit right here, pretty please. Oop. Actually, a bow's gonna do me better here. I should eat a golden apple. I haven't even healed from the last damage a piglin did. Damage? The last damage a piglin did to me. Oh, you're stuck in lava. Okay, cool. You are not getting that out of that. I'm just gonna... Yeah, nothing here. Are you done yet? Sir. Sir. Can you please... Bonk. There you go. Oh, lovely. I hear the blazes. Where are they? They're this level, aren't they? No, of course they're the next one. They're absolutely the next one. Yeah, there it is. I think I could get away with jumping down on this block to break the spawner. Doop. Boop. 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 I love being a sneak archer in Minecraft, because that makes sense. Okay, hear me out. Dehydrated piss yellow. That is a fantastic color. Okay, where there's one more left on the compass. What do you... That is not one more on the compass. What do you mean? That should never be just one on my compass. What has occurred there? What occurred for that to happen? It only shows one. You're well within range. Oh, now it shows two. There we go. Can I actually handle both of these guys, though? Okay, maybe not. I may have to quickly pop a golden apple after this guy, just to make sure I have the fire resistance to handle this one. It's probably gonna be easier just simply crit him out. There we go. Okay. Wonderful, and I hear more. Cause ain't that a treat? Oh, there's a chest. I bet it has nothing in it. Of course it does. So that means everybody's hanging out down here. Is there a chest down here? No, there's not. Okay, goodbye. I don't care then. You could not pay me enough to care about that. And we get out of here. Is there any more spirals? I don't care about you guys. You guys have more spirals. Yes, you do. In case they fall down to follow me. No? We're good? Okay. I'll take it. This is easier than flying up, actually. Y'all suck. Boop. Get booped. Get booped. Get yeeted. No, I said get yeeted. Thank you. When I say get yeeted, you're supposed to be yeeted. Did you not hear the words I have used? I use them for a reason. Anything down here? I hear guys. Nope, next floor. Got it. Netherite ingot, thank you. Oh, you are lovely. That's 5 out of the 12. Hello there? Anyone down below? No. Alas. Did you guys accidentally restate Vermilion Orange? I lost due to simple colors. What is that now? That's 5.5. Oh, I can hear the blazes. No, let's just do this real quick. Yeah, hi. my game. My mod pack, I'm gonna butcher it how I want. And right now, it's me hitting this hitbox. Oh, there's another spawner down there. I see that. You're not allowed multiple spawners. No. I love messing with their hitboxes though. This is great. Oop. Boop. No. Boop. You're gonna get booped. You're gonna get booped. And one less boop. And then this guy go boop boop. Boop 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 boop. You're gonna get booped. You're gonna get booped. You're gonna get booped a little bit. Like that. And once more for the road. That was the wrong guy. I'm sorry, you're all blazes. You look a lot alike. Oh, there's a lot of you. Golden apple. This is what these are for. There we go. That's 3. That's 2. No. That's what golden apples are for. And come on. I really would like not to die. There we go. That's 1. And none. I have almost 60 hearts. 60 health. I went down to like 3 or 4 there. That was great. I loved that. Definitely a big fan of that. There's a chest down here, and fuck you. I don't even care that I'm gonna have to, like, edit up swears at this point. I think at this point, I'm allowed to swear a little bit over the ridiculous amount of chests I have to open in order to get this netherite. At some point, I'm allowed some swears. Is the spiral still going, or have we found the end of it? Is there one over here? No, that's the end of it. Okay. We continue on east, and hopefully not into a tree. Lovely. Alright. Now, can you give me a bastion? You want me to head 700 this way? Okay. Oh, hey! Do you work? Because you're not the thing I thought you were. Are you? You are the thing I think you are. Not? Yes? No? I can't tell. I just want the guy's cake. That sounds so wrong. I apologize. There's a chef here who drops a really funny cake. It's literally like a named cake and everything. Is this the thing? Or is it not? It looks like the thing. This looks like the correct thing. Your skeleton brother. Where's Tort and his cake? Oh, you guys are like almost 100, aren't you? You're at 400 health, my dude. My bro. Yeah, this has to be the kitchen, ain't it? This is the kitchen, yes, this is the kitchen. Where's the guy? That's a skelly bro. Where are you? Tort! I wish for the baked delicacy. Hand me it. Ooh. Golden apple. We don't care about you. I just want the funny cake for... Good thing I was prepared. Kind of. Okay. Why? Oh, no. Okay, hold on. I don't know which bed I had. Oh, I need it. Finally, I don't have ridiculous speed. Oh my god, I don't have ridiculous speed. I have been saved. I do have to touch speed in order to level everything else, though. I need to use all this XP in order to get it back the next time I die. Because I'm probably gonna die when I'm in here. Where's the stronghold one? Where am I in this? Do I know? I know where I am in the stronghold. Okay, I know exactly where we are. The problem is, I just need to not die on the way to my thing. Because I want to put everything in, actually, because I don't plan on dying again anytime soon. And barely touch the speed. Okay, that's everything. I don't have nearly as much health anymore, but this is a little doable. I should have really, at some point... Oh, I don't actually... I kind of need this, actually. I should have really unwaterlogged this at some point, but I just never did. Okay. I didn't leave myself enough XP to use... Okay, where can I go from here? I can go to the nether portal, and I can go out to here. You guys are kind of safe. Oh, wait, you're the opposite direction I want to go. I wanted to go to spawn, or like to my house. I now have 0 XP. Well, I got some of my XP back. I got some of it back. There we go, 43. Okay. It's not nearly as much as last time, but we could put a little bit into health, damage, knockback. And I know for a fact I have an ender chest here, right there, so I can grab my waystone. Have I touched everything but speed? Yes. Touch speed once. Nope. Twice. And that's all I could do. We gotta go... No, sir. I gotta go far east. And then it's over that way. Lovely. Now, can I grab my stuff without dying? We'll find out. So here's the place. But can I get in there? Yes, there's the kitchen. Get into the kitchen. Because all I have to do is click on the grave and it'll give me everything in its spot. I did not consider that that would be there. I had the waystone in my inventory. Because I had to use it to teleport. At least you're 20 health. You're spawn. You're 20 health. Oh, but I'm... Oh, no. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna head over here to the waystone I have over here, because that's smart, and I have the XP currently to use it. And I'm gonna throw everything immediately. We're gonna go far east again, and I'm throwing everything else into health, and then into damage, so I can continue reusing this XP. I don't have a boost yet. I don't have a boost yet. I don't have a boost yet. Oh no, I don't have a boost yet. Because I used a boost to get to the waystone. Okay. Now that should get me over there, right? That should. No, it won't. It won't. I can bunny hop a little bit, but not really. There we go. Just enough. I need to get over there, though. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to break through a window and try and sneakily grab my stuff. I have a feeling that's how this is gonna go. Oh, you suck. I just wanted to grab a cake. I do not have time to deal with... I have 10 XP now. I do not have time to deal with this. At this point, as I feed off of each other, just food names. Real. I genuinely have no clue what you're talking about. Oh, is this the color thing still? Okay, we go far east. I put everything into... Can I have a chance? I have just enough, barely, to get over there this time. Like wheat seed, yellow, green, yellow. I don't want to use my ability because I want to immediately get out again, but I need to. I don't have any way back up here. Okay, I literally only have enough XP. I have XP in my ender chest. What am I doing? I can use that next time. I'm waiting for my ability to recharge, and then we're going again. Take a moment to drink some water, because I haven't yet. You know what I think the problem is? Stream music is currently not playing Coconut Mall. Where is it? I'm looking for this. I will skip everything else to find this song. You know what? I'm just gonna throw it in queue. There we go. This may or may not be on repeat until I am no longer in mortal danger. He was right there! I didn't even get to use that properly. I immediately had to get out of the way. Why is there a Wither Skelly right there? I am so close to my goal. I'm not letting any of you stop me. I will find a way to get my stuff back. I don't need the Grave Finder at this point. Okay, so there's skellies around. There was a skelly that followed me down there. Is he still? Yes, he is. And there's no way in hell I'm gonna be able to get around him. Is there a way I can get around this, though? Because I know it's kind of built into the wall. No, there's not. Yeah, this is the problem with Ascendant mobs, because the moment you die, you're gone. It is not easy to deal with these guys, especially if you've gone this far out. He's in a decent spot right now. I could get away with coming up here, breaking this netherrack by hand. Where is my... That's the good def. That's the one I really want to get back. That def is the one that has my major stuff. So I can break... I think I can get away with breaking this block in order to grab it. Or actually, probably better break this one, because that guy's staring me down. He sees me. Oh, he sees me. But I'm gonna grab my stuff. I got my stuff back. Okay. Get rid of you. No. No. I don't nearly have the same damage I was doing prior, either. Okay. So I'm not allowed to have 60 health. You know what? We're gonna be smart right now, actually. I'm gonna be really smart. Waystone down, Tort. Because that's the guy. I don't have the experience to... I have the experience to get back. What the hell am I saying? I can make a new warp stone. I do not care about that. I am not willing to go back for that. What do you mean? Oh, it's healing my stuff. I need to get home first. Oh, my poor gear. I didn't even think of... I haven't checked my gear at all today. That's bad. I almost didn't do that at all. Okay. I need to recoup. I need XP. Tort is replacing the Far East. There we go. I need XP. Why do I have a def all the way over there? Oh, because, yeah, overworld dip. Yeah. What button? There we go, these guys. Alright, lovely. Okay. So I need to make a new warp stone first. And we no longer have to play this on loop. There we go. One eye of ender, 4 ender pearls, and then I need amethyst. I am looking to. I used the last of my amethyst to make this tinted glass. Let's go down to the mines. Hopefully, I've been AFK around here enough that that amethyst is probably too far away. Hold on. I need to go to Ray. Ray is right above us. I need to come up here so I can go through the mines. This is not the right spot. I've gone to a completely new spot. I don't know what I'm doing. This is not where I wanted. There's an amethyst there, I'll take it. But do you actually, you do. Give me that. Okay, wonderful. Quickly craft that. Boop. Pearls. Amethyst shards. Give me that warp stone. I'm taking you back. We're going home. If I pick up that def later, then we have a backup warp stone. That's how this is working. Okay. There's not a lot of skellies down there. Alright, we need to sit here for a moment because I want you to repair my items, my armor. 2, I need the XP so I can at least get somewhat of my health back. I'm gonna go grab a cheese stick. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab a cheese stick. I actually grabbed 2. I haven't had a lot to eat today. In large part because I just wasn't hungry. It was too hot to think. All I could think about was getting home and getting a shower. I can't even open this. There we go. Lovely. Good cheese stick. And sharp cheddar. Very good cheese stick. Boop. 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 I'm very happy we fixed this. Just imagine if I was still getting hit when we were using this farm. That would have just sucked. It would have just sucked a whole lot. Okay, we repaired basically everything. I like having all my tools up. So even though it's completely unnecessary, I am repairing tools. I do not care. There we go. And back up. It is completely unnecessary, though. I really don't need to do that. This one doesn't even have mending on it. Yeah, this is the only other one that has mending. Okay. Because of all the deaths, I literally have no stats in anything. These are base game stats right now. Health is number 1. Then damage. Then attack speed because of the glaive. Then knockback, and that's all of my levels right now. Okay. half tempted to actually work on the house while we're doing this, just to give me something to do. But I feel like that's kind of pointless as well. I don't know. No thought. Only cheese. This is how it go. Good ass cheese though. I don't think I have any of my cheese. Any cheese on my shopping list tomorrow. I don't think so anyway. Do I? I don't think so. I mostly have produce this time. Yeah. I don't have cheese on my list. Okay. Depends on the price of cheese right now, though. I really loved a good smoked cheddar. But I don't want to pay $7 for a tiny little block of it. As delicious as it is. I'd rather get another bag of these sharp cheddar sticks for like $3-4. As we kill the skellies, we're gonna start upgrading stats. Because that actually ends up using less XP in the long run. Because the more XP you gain, it takes more and more XP to get to the next level. And we're using levels, not actual XP count. So we're gonna upgrade as we kill. Yeah, because I get a lot really quickly. Because all these guys are semi-leveled skellies. So while killing several of them isn't getting me... while killing 1 or 2 isn't going to give me 20 levels, killing several like that will. Hey, buddy, thank you. Okay. And the bones. I really need to start grabbing some of these bows. I was gonna start backlogging this real quick. There we go. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. And grab the armor. Goes in these ones. Okay, and back upstairs. For another cheese stick. Because I grabbed 2. I love this so much, by the way. I genuinely love the way those walls look and the pillars. It looks so cool. I love it. I love it dearly. I do need to talk, like, the next week or two is going to be me just figuring out the next, like, rest of the year. Next 6 months, rest of the year. Because we still need to figure out when we're resetting Passion SOB. Not anytime soon. Specify that immediately. End of summer, end of fall, end of winter. Depends on what works for people and what plans they currently have on the server, what they want to get done. And then figure out for season 2, we would like to try doing voice chat. The current thing we're using, Minehut, does not enable voice chat. You cannot do it. Minehut servers physically won't allow you to, so I need to figure out... I barely looked into it. I need to figure out what server we're moving to. I think it's going to be Bisect hosting or whatever it is. And then we'll also figure out a mod pack that everybody agrees with. I would like to possibly head in like a vanilla plus direction of this, not nearly as heavy as this, but see if people would be like, hey, would you like the chipped mod blocks, because I really enjoy those, or Croptopia, because I think it'd be really interesting for people to have specific chops for like specific chip mod stuff, like, hey, we need somebody for masonry. Not everybody wants to be crafting the entire mason station. Maybe somebody could be a mason. Maybe somebody specifically sells a bunch of the Croptopia stuff. Maybe somebody sells the ingredients for Croptopia stuff. And stuff like that. Because I would happily overstock on my Ratatouille. I still stand steadfast, and I think it'd be really funny if the server I'd carry on. Just so we can make hella efficient farms like this. I would love to have a skeleton farm that's stacked with like 8 spawners. Because currently this is 4, and you cannot AFK this for more than 8 minutes. Otherwise it's completely full to the brim. Passion SMP went up today. What we're doing right now will go up next Sunday. There will be no stream this Wednesday. There will be one next Wednesday because I'm busy this Wednesday. Next Wednesday and the Wednesday after, then the 29th we go back to streaming every Sunday. So it's going to be interesting for a little bit. Because while May's usually the busiest for me, right now it's actually June. So that's going to be really interesting. Okay. And I've learned my lesson this time. We are only touching speed as absolutely necessary. Can I upgrade other stuff yet? No. I think you need to have to touch speed twice at a time. And at some point, I really just spam speed without thinking about it. So yeah, never spam speed. It does not work in your favor. Ever. I feel like I'd honestly trade the being able to drop the skeletons for extra death. I think I'd honestly be willing to trade dropping the skeletons for extra damage, or just being close enough to the farm. Because if I had the... kill chamber right below, like, that block, I could always sit down there and just have everything right there. Or hell, even if I shooted them up, would actually be better. Because then I could avoid this entire thing and just have all of them go to the center. Which would make them a little annoying. I'd want to have them go into the center and then come back over or something like that. I don't know. Because my thought process of throwing them up is if I want them in the same spot where I threw them up, they're going to be sitting on soul. They're going to be sitting on bubbling water, and it's going to be really annoying to deal with them. And that's going to be really easy to accidentally backlog the farm that way. So I'm trying to think of... Because there's always throwing them to corners too, but I'd rather have them all in one spot like this, which is why I opt for doing this most of the time. But having them below is always far better. I don't know. I think by far this is one of my favorite Skelly farms I've made, though. 100%. There's not a doubt in my mind. Out of all the Skelly farms I've made, this is the best. It could certainly be better, I'm not gonna say that. This can be automated. But because of the way this game works, way my modded game works, it's far better for me to actually kill them myself, because I require the XP. I'm not going for drops. We want the XP out of this. And these guys are nice XP. They're not amazing XP. We could absolutely get better XP if I made another Skelly farm even further out. That could be really killer, and I feel like in this mod pack, you can seriously benefit from having one kind of farm multiple distances from spawn. As in, one Skelly farm, like 100 blocks from spawn, another 1,000, another 3,000. Because while the farther out it is harder to kill, the farther out, the more XP you get per kill. Which can be really good for these stats. I feel like I've already talked about this again, but I'm going to say it anyway. These XP farms with the stats are absolutely the way to go. And with the Ascendant mobs now, there is a balance of it. And figuring out the best strategy to go about that. Currently, I feel making a Skelly farm, we are about 1,000 out from spawn. This is really good beginner stuff. I feel like it could be even better if I made one 2,000 out. Because that would balance them being overpowered and giving them... Having one at 2,000 would balance them being overpowered with a lot of health, but not so much so that's difficult for me to kill them, and still giving me a fair amount of XP. Because while these guys are great, they're better than base game, they're not nearly as good as the guys I've been killing in the Nether. And I'm aware that's a different dimension, but also those guys are level 50, 70. These guys are level 10. They're not nearly as much. See? Yeah. Because I can still get a hefty amount from them, but... It does take a minute. I would much rather have this safety bar than anything else right now, though. I completely lost all the damage I had and all the health I had. We were almost at 60. I was at like 58, 56. But not anymore. And then one on that. I'm really tempted to quickly go get a totem somehow. What? Excuse me? My house. Not allowed. You're not allowed in my house. No, get out. Get out of here. I do not have torches in this place, apparently. I didn't even realize. Probably because I have Fulbright. Why? They always choose the weirdest spots to shoot you, don't they? Because this is fun to live with. This is great. I like this, definitely. There we go. There we go. Okay. This is lovely. I'm trying to think. I hesitate on adding camera overhaul. I feel like I need to make a version of the mod pack for Passion SMP for everybody, and then I'll have my own little version that'll have the resources I want and camera overhaul, stuff like that. Client side versus server side. Server side, I feel like everybody genuinely loves the fallen trees. I think it'd be funny as hell if we have the hammers. I do not think we'd actually add them. But it would be funny. So I could get my hammer in a survival server. Trying to think of what else. Handcrafted would be adorable. I'm not sure if we'd go as far as that, because that drifts the line of, is it vanilla or is this modded? Because it's very much, it does well in a vanilla setting, but it's also just outside of that reach of, that's not quite vanilla anymore. There's things I definitely love about it. I love the cushions, because you can actually, these are used for crafting, but you can actually place them, and they're a beautiful poof. They look like a half slab, and you can actually sit on them, which I love, and I love the lanterns as well. But Chipped Mod, I feel like, does such a better job of being within the vanilla world. And these are all absolutely believable blocks to have. Handcrafted, I look at the bed and I look at the counters and I'm like, maybe not. Maybe not. I love it. Works great. It does not work for the kind of vanilla plus world that we've been crafting. I feel like if everybody in the server seriously wanted handcrafted to be a part of it, then I would allow it in. But I feel like that's one of the mods that has to be a complete majority in order to add in. Because other things I'd be willing to add would be like baby mobs or like resources like that. We use fresh animations on the server and such. Croptopia, it also teeters the line, but I feel like there's enough actual server usage of that. I suppose handcrafted could be some server utilization in the way of people making furniture shops, but that's not really a thing that's required or necessary. It'd be funny, but it's not something that could be a long-term project. Well, I feel Croptopia, people can be focused on making orchards. People can be making actual taverns. People can be running full restaurants with Croptopia. Like, even Bosses of Mass Destruction. I think that'd be funny to add. I don't know if we would, but that would be something I'd be willing to add because of the crafting recipes. Table of Elevation. When placed, grants creative flight in a 7x7 column. I know a lot of people that would love that. I know Lilac would absolutely adore that. So I certainly know that'd help them out with some of their builds. And then there's smaller stuff like Carry On, which doesn't really get noticed in this mod pack because it's just picking up entities like chests and furnaces. And my craft and tape. It's not gonna let me pick up the crafting table. It's not gonna, yeah, it doesn't, you can't pick up workbenches, but you can pick up the enchanting. Oh, it'll even let me pick up to a leveling table. Wonderful. Can I pick up a waystone? No. But yes, oh, the spaghetti's done. I was too busy talking, spaghetti's done! Oh dear. Oh dear. Stats, knockback. Attack speed. More attack speed. More attacks. I can't do more. Heck, knockback. More health. Even more. It's not gonna let me do more. More luck. More luck. Can I not do anything else? Okay. Barely touch it. Can I? Okay, I can start doing other things now. Okay. I wanna touch speed the bare minimum I have to. Also, we're almost back to what we were at the beginning of stream. Fantastic. An hour in. This is not what I wanted to be doing. Absolutely lovely. Okay. You know what? While we're here, what I should have been doing? Smelting the ancient debris I've been getting. That's a smart choice. And then I don't have quite enough scrap for another ingot. But we're still 5 out of 12. We're almost halfway. Which isn't a lot. But I did get most of that really quickly. And then I already had 2 from last stream. There we go. So there we go. Officially 5.5 out of 12. I feel like I have something under my nail. What the hell's going on there? This is just uncomfy. But I might just be imagining it. I think I'm imagining it. It feels like I do, but I don't. That's weird. I don't like that. Oh, something funny that I don't think I've talked about. This is a commonplace journal I use. Every now and again it's been shown on stream, but I use this for just about everything. Also, it's not actually this fancy. This is just like a basic orange leather bound. It's like, I'm pretty sure this is leather. This is just a generic thing that I have paint pens. I decorated with paint pens. This is a commonplace journal I've been using since August of last year, purely out of spite, because it's a dotted journal, and I hate dotted journals. So I've been using it purely out of spite, and I have like maybe 2 dozen pages left of it now. And I find that so fun. Like, how much do I have left of it? I know it's not a lot. That much. This little bit is what I have left. The rest has been used out of spite. And I'm almost done with it. And I can't wait because I got this wonderful journal. It's just like it's just a basic notebook. I love checkered. I found a checkered one that's absolutely gorgeous. You can't even see it, which I love as well. You can't see it on camera. It's very faint. It's fantastic. It's just a beautiful faint checkered pattern. We're talking like a light gray on white. And I got it for like $12, which is saying something. Checkered journals are not easy to find for like $12, especially this size. It's not super thick of one, but I will happily buy multiple of these. And these are very accessible for me to go buy in store instead of having to buy from a big online corporation yet again. Plus, it's more space per page. So I can actually keep everything on one page instead of one page and another half. One page and another half. And having to write super small and barely fit everything. It's better. I like it. I can't wait to use it. I have a lot of stuff I need to write down in the next couple days, so hopefully I can finally be done with this stupid thing. But I do genuinely recommend a commonplace journal, because it is a fantastic thing to use. I'll talk about it more in a second. The spaghetti done! We're almost... so close. So close. 50! That took way too long. Upgrade luck. Does luck affect... I am seriously curious if luck affects the XP you get. I want to test with that, because I know luck probably affects your drops. But I don't know if that affects XP. Can I actually... yeah, I can continue upgrading health. Fantastic. we're gonna get back to the levels I had before, or roughly, because I imagine I had mostly damage output about here. I know I had 56 health because I had 2 golden hearts here. I remember that distinctly. I don't know the rest of this, so I'm just gonna max it out except for speed. And we're gonna assume that as A-okay. Which hopefully shouldn't take too long. Also, I'm player level 96. That's great. That's great. I seriously recommend keeping a commonplace journal. I don't know if this is just because my memory is good after I write something down. I know this from past experience. But I feel like I'm able to remember tasks and things I thought out a lot easier. And I also use this for sketching because it's dotted. That's helpful for it. And also the checkered one I've used for sketching as well. I throw everything from shopping lists, groceries, recipe plans, quick little sketches of things I want to build on the SMP. I have maps of my island in the SMP on here. I have intros for videos. I have storyboarding for videos. I have thinking out better plans of like, how do I want to go about my videos? How do I want... This can apply to a lot of things. I'm saying what I'm doing. You could easily apply this to your job of like, I need to get this done today. I got the stupid. Get journal and write all down your stupid stuff and then figure stuff out. I recommend journal no matter what. Also, it's really interesting to go back across the last year and see, oh, I was thinking about this at this time and what was going on at any given day. Because, like, I have this really old thing of ideas for short videos, so you can't actually see any of that. But, like, some architecture styles I could build for a short video. Some block palettes I could do that'd be interesting. See, I just lose any journals. And any journals for gore. Even if you can't use it, I'll still recommend it. This is not me forcing you to use it. I'm just saying I recommend it. I just keep this directly, literally this sits right next to my computer. So if I ever want to write anything down or think anything out, instead of like opening a random document, I throw everything in here. Also, I'll usually write out calendars for the next month as well. So I do some basic journaling, stereotypical journaling, and non-stereotypical. Lick the page. No. But yeah, I found it genuinely helpful for myself. And being able to write stuff down and figure stuff out and be able to look back at my previous thoughts and have everything in one place. Which is the only reason I even know that I've been using this out of spite since August, because one of the first entries is from August, and it was me figuring out budget for shopping. For grocery shopping. Yeah. August 5th to 17th. And the budget and my meals and snack plans for that. And I've gotten far better at my budget since. So I gave myself way more budget than I needed to. Those like things I needed to do as well. Things I need to do, want to do. What's the priorities of that? General thoughts of like problems I'm dealing with. Current problems. Writing out plans for March. Oh dear. My plans for March, I find it so funny looking back at old plans because I'm like, I want to get all this stuff done in 1 week. I now do videos for Passion SMP every 2 weeks. But I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get the entire area of my island on Passion SMP terraformed in 1 week. I plan to be due, quote unquote, March 14th. It is June, beginning of June now. Transport system. I got it started. Maybe it was started. I feel like the next thing I need to do on the SMP is just start finishing the random projects. Or at least get, like, reasonable portions of them done. So, like, I couldn't get all the transportation done in one episode, but I think it's reasonable enough for me to sit down and build from the train station to the Skele Farm and make a train station for the Skele Farm. And then maybe the next episode, I'll quickly go and build from the Skele Farm to the Creeper and Sugarcane Farm. And then from the Creeper Farm, build out to the end portal, because that's the entire transportation system done in 3 episodes. That's reasonable enough. Illager Village was a random idea I had for my island, and I still have that kind of. I'm more leaning towards just leaving it completely abandoned and just my random house in the middle of all the ruin. But Illager Village was supposed to be March 28th. The transport system was supposed to be March 7th. So that's all fun stuff. Yeah. Figuring out how I wanted to plot out videos, if I wanted to sort of structure how I got them started, and try and follow some sort of that structure. I broke apart the community center to what it is now, because it still currently has 2 floors on the side buildings. I need to get rid of those floors. That's another project I need to do. I need to write down all the projects I haven't done and just do that. And then there's the whole front building, and it looks much better without all of that. And then I figured out, how am I going to lay out the new rooms, though, if I want, like, half of what I had previously? And so I was figuring out that and laying out floor plans for that. I had all my events planned out that month. I kind of want to add a floor pattern to the main hall of... There we go. I want to add a floor pattern to the main hall. So I was looking through, hey, maybe I could do something like this. And I think I ended up kind of liking that. That was the last time I sketched any of that, because I had several pages of these sketches. So I need to do that. I need to write down, again, all of that. Oh yeah, I took for the pillager ploy to hide their pillager heads, all the major ones, I have the sketches in here. And sketching out how the hell I want to do the back of my base, that is, the terraforming. Because my island's no longer in the air, but now it's just on a square. Breaking down schedule, writing stuff I need to do and prioritizing it, figuring out my current priorities. So right now I have days set aside. I need to focus on this today. There are 2 things that are my priorities for every single day of the week. And it usually falls into one of 4 categories. It's streaming / amalgamation, because amalgamation is the #1 thing I'm streaming right now. And the only thing I've been streaming, Passion SMP, friends, and a personal project of mine. And so every day of the week has some priority or another. And sometimes they overlap. So it's like, oh, if I'm streaming Sunday, which I am today, Sunday is for streaming and friends. Then tomorrow, if I get done with amalgamation editing really soon, I'm going to work on Passion SMP. So I'm always getting something done for the day, instead of like, oh, well, it's 3 p.m. and I finished editing, I'm gonna go mess around for the rest of the day, when I could easily hop on the SMP and make an intro and go get rid of the 2nd floor of the community center, which I need to do. So yeah, bunch of fun stuff. I'm pressing the wrong buttons over and over. I, in large part, care about damage right now, so we're going to immediately focus on that. I don't know how many more times we're going to do this. I'm not going to max out everything. But I would like to get damage up to 30. That is the dream. And I think we can manage just that much. It's going to take... We've been sitting here. We've sat here for 20 minutes. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Grandpa's going in the home, and we're gonna go back into the Nether. Men. What about men? To be fair, that could be a lot. that could be a lot. There's a lot of things that could be. Okay. 150 for week vacation is unreasonable, right? For a week? Where are you going that's 150 a week? Send me it. I want to go there. That's fantastic. What are you talking about? That is so good. I'll bring 150 to see you. What is he getting that's 150? Because hello, please. Share. That's so good. He's planning to bring only 150 to visit me for a week. I'm paying that much in gas. Yeah. That's not enough. Not in this country. Oh, unreasonable in the sense that's not enough. Okay. You just said unreasonable. And I was immediately interpreting that as that was too much. Okay, we're going back to Tort. And now that I have this here, it's gonna make this a little bit easier. I'm getting rid of you. What do you mean you're at 1 health? Die. Thank you. There's a skelly bro over there. There's the fact that he doesn't have a job. Apologies. No worries. Tort. I'm coming for you. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I just got all my health back, man. Okay, we're cheesing him. I don't care. Warpstone. Okay, yeah, get it, go away. There we go, okay. We're cheesing Tort. I don't care. I just got all of his back. I just got all of it back. I couldn't even get to 40, man. Stupid, 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 very stupid skeleton. Screw you so much. You're not even under 200 yet. I just want the stupid cake that you dropped. I'm not even supposed to be doing this right now. I'm supposed to be getting netherite. Yeah, the next bastion is like 700 away. We're not doing that, by the way. Okay, I need to build this up just a tad bit. Okay. There's a skeleton brother right there. Where... Tort's over there. You just stay in the corner, Tort. I just want the stupid cake that you drop. That's the only thing I want. I'm curious how many deaths we're at. We'll find that out at the end. Because I'm sure I'm gonna rack up a few more at this rate. Tort. I'm doing 10 damage. I was doing 50 before. This is so sad. Oh, of course. The cake! That's not the right cake, though. There's literally like a specially named cake that he drops. And that's the #1 thing I want right now. Next to my destruction hammer. Where are you? You're in the corner! God. This stupid skeleton. Actually, it'd probably be better for me to go this way, huh? And then I can hit him from over here. Can't hit him from that spot. And I hit you from here? Yeah. I do so little damage to these guys. That's not even funny. Also, I already see this becoming a problem. I see another skelly down there. We're just gonna do this. Even when I'm critting, I only do 10 damage. Oh, that's sad. Oh, that's so sad. I'm trying to fight around this arrow. There we go. What did... You know what? My boots are better. Yeah. I wonder which one's better. I wonder which one's better. Okay, where's stupid Tort? Where did Tort go? He's not even in here anymore. What do you... He's in here! The small ones like you? I don't understand what you were saying. Okay, we're gonna... I do not care about cheesing this guy. The guy has 400 health. He is double that of the Ender Dragon. We're also gonna block off this doorway. For no discernible reason. Small like you. Okay. Haha, Torch can't get me. Where the... Wait. Oh, you're just chilling right there. There we go. Get bonked, Torch. You're at 30. 20. I was so close to killing you when you killed me. You fool. The cake is a lie. Cake batter. Tort's infamous deadly cake. This is all I wanted, by the way. This is all I wanted to get from this entire excavation that has moved me around for an extra hour. You're going next to the obsidian heart. Because that was worse than Obsidiolith. And I mean it. Okay, we're gonna carry on with our lives. We're going back. I am not going any further out. No. Let's go to the nether portal. I could put... I had 8 damage, that's why. I can't put anything more into damage until I put more into speed, though. Still can't. Can I put anything in? Oh, I can't. Okay. There we go. Ay. Is it occurring because we're so far out? We're already... I should make another portal at spawn. Because that would genuinely be new, because this is already 4,500 out. I'm making this way harder for myself than I need to. We're going back here, and I'm making another portal here. Yeah, I know I have obsidian. There we go. And I have a flint and steel. Okay, we're making another portal over here. By my ender chest. Because these guys are easy little buddies. They're just 20 health. They're fine. Oh, tea leaves. They're fine. They're just wee babies. So, we should be a-okay to make another portal here. Yeah? And it will actually give me new things to go to. And I can just breeze through the last 6.5. This is wonderful. Okay. We're gonna have normal health piglins for like 5 seconds. It's gonna be glorious. Bastion, 500, that is this way. Happily. I can't wait to know what their health is, genuinely. It's gonna be like 100. I can't wait. I'm really excited for it. It's gonna be like a somewhat easy guy to go against. Is it gonna be a treasure? I hope it's a treasure, please. I just wanted netherite. I expected this to be like a 2-hour stream. It was not. It's treasure! I've already been here. I've already been here. We're gonna continue this way. Where's the nearest fortress? Nearest fortress is 400 this way. Ooh, if I could fly to it, that is. All depends on that. Have I actually gone to this one? Perhaps. It seems like I have. Well. Because, yeah, I already have these chunks loaded. I need to know, what is your health? 200, okay. Well, let's go northeast this way. So, oh, wait. Have we gone through this yet? I don't think we have. I saw a warped one a while ago, but I don't think we've gone through a genuine nether one. I'm not gonna bother with the puzzle. No one cares about the stupid puzzle. Oh. Oh, you are amazing. 6 out of 12. We're officially halfway. I have been through this. Puzzle. No one cares about the puzzle. It's a very stupid common puzzle. And I'm not gonna sit there flicking 3 levers over and over. No. Okay. No, we don't care about that. I have power 20. We don't care. Okay, this was the way I have been going. This is... okay, we go here. We go this way. There's no flags. There was no... I got 2 ancient debris, 2 ancient scrap, whatever it is. I didn't get any flags. I want more flags. I want more of my banners. Oh. Here thing. Will there be a random several ancient debris in the main chest, or no? Because I feel like that was like just a very rare occurrence what I got. We're gonna come down here. Nothing in there. We leave. I don't care about anything else here then. Continue northeast. Because theoretically, northeast should keep us pretty low leveled, but also new territory. That should be an area we haven't been to yet. Theoretically. There's a bastion 200 this way. I'm willing to go out even though it's northwest, and it's gonna increase the leveling. This should be fine. Even with my reduced damage. Should be. This better be new. It says it's like right... What do you mean it's right here? What do you mean it's right here? It's 30 blocks away. I should be able to see it, no? What do you mean? There's nothing here. Okay. No. There's nothing here. What do you mean there's a bastion here? Oh, it's way down below. Okay. We're too high up. Yeah, that'd be a problem. How get down? Get down here. Is this too low? No, it's just right. Try around this corner. Boop. Oh, my ability hasn't recharged yet. This way, 100. Come on, I just want to go into the bastion. Ooh, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, 80. There it is. Is this a treasure? It's a stupid bridge. I am positive of it. Oh no, it's the side open. It's a side baby. What level? That's 54. You're fine. I'm doing 61. Oh, thank you. I don't have the health anymore, but at least I got damage. Oh, that's lovely. 68. Oh, I love that. Oh, that's lovely. Okay. And that was everything but a piglin brute. So, yeah, come on. Come on, buddy. I would appreciate if you could, you know, see me. And pay attention. Pay attention to me. I require your attention. There we go. Thank you. Okay, goodbye. Nothing. Nothing. Oh, ancient debris. There's another chest over here, right? I saw one. Yeah. Oh, nothing. Okay. Nearest fortress from here. 300 this way. We carry on. We're still going farther out, but we should be able to handle it considering they're 54 right now. So, like, I'm think a max of... There we are. A max of, like, 70 from these guys. And we've mostly been dealing with 70s. Anyhow. I'm not as strong anymore, but they shouldn't be that difficult to handle. Have I already been in? I've been in this one. Where am I? I've been in this area so much. We're going south of spawn. There's my warp stone. We're going back to spawn, and then we're gonna head straight south of it. I'm making a portal that's just called Spawn of Nether, or Nether Spawn, or something like that. Or portal, I'm making Waystone. We're making one here. Nether Spawn. That's gonna replace Far East. That's north. Have we been south? We've also been south. I have not been southwest of spawn, however. So we're gonna head southwest for quite a bit. Oh, nope. Not the infernal dudes. Please no. Please no. Oh, the blaze is already spawning. Oh, hi you. Have I been here? Have I checked? No, I have not checked. We run down here. Where's your chest? You don't have a chest. Why don't you have a chest? You're meanies. That was a mistake. There we go. Why don't you have a chest? You're meanie bobinis. Also, yeesh, I'm hurting my back doing this. I'm also hurting my character doing this. Yeah, did it. We gonna dig through a wall. We're just gonna dig. Oh, come on. There we go. I love how speedy I am doing this, by the way, though. Oh, there we go. Even if I got rid of my speed doing so. Okay, This is almost new territory. Oh, wait. Thank you, mini-map. Lovely. Yeah, there's a guy down there. Is there any inch of debris in this? Or was that like a really lucky random thing I got? It's starting to seem so. Oh, you're only 230 health? Oh, you baby. Which button? Like that's the right button? Oh, you're only 55. You're only level 55. Oh dear. Fantastic. We love that. How many? I forgot how many stupid little totems you have. Can you please die? Pretty please. Pretty please. I feel like I could almost spam click. I'm not looking the right spot anymore. There we go. I completely lost control of my character. My phone is going off as per normal. Is there ancient debris? There's only a shield that I already have. And it's a efficiency pickaxe with 3 durability. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, love stopping here. We're gonna continue southwest. Are we far enough away that I could potentially find myself a new bastion? It says to go to 1300 this way. Have I already been out there? Possibly. Oh wait, if it wants me, yes, I've been to that one. We've already been there. Cat. Black spiral. With a no hoglins. You guys aren't allowed hoglins. You know what? I actually don't care about you guys. Hold on. I've decided I do not care. There's a chest right here. Not worth it. Okay, cat. Oh. All right. I literally just need 6 ingots. That is all we need. That's all I'm going to want. There's an ingot. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. That seriously means a lot. So now we're at 7.5. So I now need 5.5. Is there blazes down here? I should throw the backpack back up. None in this level, but it's the next level, absolutely. Yeah. What if I just don't care about you guys, actually? What if I don't care? And I just cheese everything, because this mod pack's horrible anyway. But I'd hate if I did. So, we're gonna do a normal, appropriate cheese of the mod and the enemies. Because that's how we play. Because this is fine. Building up an entire wall, this isn't Fortnite, this is Minecraft. And there's no chest. And there's more down below. Okay, golden apple. Where's your stupid spawner? There it is. See, this is fine. This is appropriate. This is A-okay. I approve of this. You're welcome to cheese it as much as you want. I'm not gonna, though. Oh, they're about 57. Oop. Up. I'm screwed no matter what. Okay, hold on. Reevaluate. Another golden apple. How can we handle these guys? There's a chest down there, and I'd much rather actually get to said chest. I can start... Oh. Damn it, cat. You have three. You have three that you have left. You have three. You have three. You have three. Have tree. Oh. He's being a stupid cat. I'm pretty sure he's. It was a singular boy. Okay, lovely. Now, where's I heading? It still wants me to head to that bastion remnant. Are there any fortresses? Is there a fortress nearby? Yeah, there's one out this way. Lovely. Oh no, chunks. Oh no, the chunks. Oh no, my chunks. If there's any time for stream to crash, it will be now. Or crash again, pardon. It's already happened. Hello, fortress. Where is your big bad boy? Wait, where's the thing? It says you're over this way, but you kinda aren't. Oh no, you are. I'm wrong. Where is your basement? Not here, not here. Oop. Thank you, Kofi. Basement, this one. Pretty sure. Yeah. That's 8. 8 1/4 out of. We need 3 3 3/4 more. I've already been this way. I need 3 ingots and 3 debris. Lovely. Okay. That's a turning point. I'm really that close? That's crazy. I was way too oh dear. Did stream crash? I got a welcome to chat room on the stream chat on OBS. Has it crashed yet again? Twitch says it's still going. I'm gonna trust that it's still going. I'm gonna trust Twitch. It probably lagged out a bit. In case it lagged out and I lost footage, I just got another 3 in a chest. So now we have 3 ingots. So now we have 3 ingots and 3 debris or scrap to go. So 3 3/4, really. We can go down. What you? What you? What you? I like there's a lot of lodestones in the chests. That's really nice. When we're on 1.19.2, if I ever want lodestones on the older versions, you have to use a netherite ingot. Because the newer version is implementing iron ingots instead, because they realized, that's kind of expensive for what's supposed to be a beginner game block. There we go. Explodey time. Please. Thank you. And I will pick up everything because I don't need to lag out my computer more. Nothing for me. Sadly. Not my sleeping bag. I haven't used the sleeping bag, like, at all. I've used it, like, 3 times this entire playthrough. But I have it. If I ever so feel inclined. Ooh. Boop. 2 3/4. I love this mod pack sometimes. I hate that we're at a point where I literally just have to go through chests for it. But I also love this mod pack. I wish there was like a better way to go about netherite ingots in a fun way that wasn't mining. Because it's just like a rare drop in chests sometimes, but the mobs aren't necessarily all that difficult or even fun at times. And I know I've like beaten this horse to the ground. It is farther than 6 feet in the grave. It is down in the Marina's trench. But 1.5. Or not half. 75. 175. Jeez. Way to take away all of my brain power. I wish this wasn't a case of looting, and it was actually more fun, but it kinda isn't. Like, it's thrilling that I'm randomly finding these, and we've managed to find 2 ingots in this structure, along with 3 ancient debris. Oh, you stupid desert places. I don't care. I should care. I should care a little bit, actually. I should care a lot more, actually. Okay, did I even go the right way? I don't think I went the right... Oh, I did go the right way. Okay, we're just gonna ignore everything that just transpired. Boop. Boop. Okay. Lovely. No complaints anymore. Slight complaint. I'm still gonna beat this dead horse. A slight complaint. But I'm not sure how to really fix that. Aside from making mobs drop it sometimes, but then you're just killing a bunch of mobs, which is the same issue of like the Wither Skelly Skulls. Which I feel like there has to be a balance of the tool leveling mod, but if you're in a Elytrian, you're just gonna die, is the problem. So it's a hard balance of figuring it out. Because we do have the stats, though. So the tool leveling mod is almost useless in that sense. Because you don't need more than prot, but then again, you don't need more than, like, prot 4, but then again, the only reason I've survived this much, this long, granted, I have died a lot, but I would have died way more if I didn't have prot 20. And this armor wouldn't have survived if I didn't have Unbreaking 10. Even with Unbreaking 10, my helmet has broken on me before. So I feel like I overdid my damage output, absolutely. I say as I put more into damage. And attack speed. As much as I can, anyhow. I think... There we go, luck. But I don't think there's a really currently satisfying way to go about extreme amounts of netherite in the game, because eventually it's going to be horrible no matter what. I am chasing bastion remnants, black spirals, which are basically bastions. and fortresses in just the hopes that it may dare give me something good. Because, like, this place sucks. I think we can all easily agree on that. This kind of place sucks. Doing this sucks. I don't even know where the chests are in this one. I've explored it before. Not a clue where the chests are. I'm still gonna try though, because this is by far gonna be one of the easier ones for me to handle. There's a chest over there, but is that safe for me to go for? Not really, no. The most I could do is just make it difficult for them to get to me. Oh, there we go. That'll do it. There was a hoglin babe. Oh, it's just a baby. Okay, you're fine. There's nothing in the chest anyway. But yeah, there's not really a satisfying way to handle this kind of gameplay. Because, like, again, this is an oh, there's a black spiral behind me. This is an absurd... What? What do you mean? What just transpired? He went through a wall. I'm pretty sure I knocked him into the lava. Through the wall. There's a piece of ancient debris. We're taking it. I'm taking my cinnamon roll. I'm throwing it in my backpack. And then we're trying a spiral right here. That's 1.5 now, actually. I should have checked if there were any brutes in here. I did not do that. Why am I doing this method? Why? The entire spiral is completely open. Why am I even attempting to go through the bottom half, through the actual interior, when I can just mine around the sides? This is infinitely easier. Oh. If I don't, 1, screw up my ability, 2, fall. This one. There's a chest in here, but not worth it. Okay, lovely. There's no enemies in this? There's nothing good in the chest either, but there's no enemies in this? I'm gonna jinx that, aren't I? No, this is the bottom level. There's no enemies in this one. I mean, there wasn't anything good in it either, but... That's a little silly. Oh, wait. There's a fortress. There's another spiral right here. No brute and seemingly... No chest. Yeah. Wait. No. No chest, no brute. I hear pigs, but they're down below or above. There's nothing on par with me. This level? No, so it says they're kind of far away. Nothing in this one. Ooh. Hello there, buddies. Level 66, so not the worst I've gone against yet. Still have flashbacks to when I went against 100. Because those guys were not fun in any form or fashion. No. I do not want to think about what would have happened if I went to the bastion that was built... that was farther than Tort's place. Because Tort beat my butt in. Horribly. There's nothing in that chest and nothing in that one. I died so many times there. Not even funny. Okay, I'm not gonna have an easy time getting around this. I think we tackle this by mining off to the corner here. Because the bridges are not gonna be in this portion. Oh, wait. Oh, there's a guy right there. Wonderful. I'm gonna come over here. We're gonna box myself in. We're gonna mine down again. And into right here. Yeah, this is exactly where I want to be. Your blazes. What if I just mine around to the side that can access the spawner? What do you say about that, huh? There's nothing of value there. Is there anything of value in here? There's no enemies. There's a chest with nothing that I want. At least in Skyrim, like, the chest eventually reset. Minecraft, hell nah, buddy. You live with the consequences of your actions forever. Unless you reset the nether. Which I'm kind of tempted to do at this point. But I don't know how to do that on Java. No. Is it literally just as simple as, like, you delete your nether file or something? You trade the files? I know you could do that to transfer things across worlds. But is that how you also reset your nether? But we're literally at 1.5 netherite ingots left. So I don't think we need to do that. Yeah, there's blackstone underneath. Okay. If it's blackstone underneath, then you're done. There's no more left of the tower. If it has brick underneath, then you have another floor. There we go. And get me out. There's another one? I didn't think there was gonna be another one. Or that I'd... Ooh. Yup, No complaints, Your Honor. We need 2 debris. If I get an ingot, then I don't even have to use that. I'll have 2 left over then. We need 2 debris or an ingot. What about you? No. Okay. But carry on. This one, being in this spot might actually get me hurt, so let's do that, so they can't easily get to me. Yeah. Yeah, this is what I was saying. No, this got me in a corner is what it did. I'm going to spam click to keep all of them away from me, because I currently do not have the option of doing elsewise. No, you are not allowed to go that way. I should have just blocked it off. There's no easy way for me to get out of this aside from just spam clicking. Oh, one of them's almost dead. One of them's almost dead. Problem is I am as well. Okay. We have them a little more concentrated. Can I eat an apple? I could eat an apple. Okay, fantastic. This is a little bit better now. No, it's not. Never say anything. Never say a peep. Never say a word. Okay. 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 Wait. Okay. Never say a word. Always block yourself off and be safe as possible. Jeez. Just rethinking my life choices here. Okay. I don't even want to go down another level. I can hear the blazes. That's enough for me. Is there a level beyond that? It doesn't seem to be. Oh, there's piglin brutes in there as well. Lovely. There is another level beyond that. What do you mean? What level are we at? What is my Y coordinate currently? 43. My camera covering that? Yes, it is. Where's my key? Where's my hotkey? What do you mean? No, 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 no. I just wanted to look at my stupid hotkeys. Let's turn off my camera for a moment so I can prove this. Excuse me, sir. We're at 30! We're at like 40! What do you mean I found ancient debris by breaking a couple random blocks? Okay, now you two can have my attention. Hey. You know what? That's so funny. I'm willing to take it. I'm willing to take that piece of ancient debris. It's so funny. I'm willing to grab it. I mean, I grabbed a funny-ass one before, so... Okay, just the one. That's fine. It's still an ingot, or... That's an ingot or a singular piece of scrap. Hey, you two. You don't happen to be harboring any chests, do you? I'm not seeing any in there that could be worth it. So I'm just gonna leave you be, actually. This is another blaze. That doesn't seem to have any chests. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. This is not safe in the slightest. Yeah, you don't seem to have any chests. I've been safe so far. Let's keep it playing as much as I can. Safe is certainly a word for it, at least. There's just a blaze in there. There's nothing else. That's a brute. And I'm not seeing anything else in there. There's literally nothing in that one. And there's nobody in here, but also no chest. And then we're back down at the blaze at the bottom. Okay. Where to go from here? The Bastion Remnant is that way, so let's try heading this way for a fortress. Still the old one. Okay. I'm gonna randomly fly this way, and perhaps, mayhaps, I get something. Oh. That's a thing. Now, does it have anything I would want? Is the better question. I can't even get up all the way. Okay. This place doesn't... Like, I still think wholeheartedly that the 3 pieces of ancient debris I got from that was an extremely lucky, shouldn't have happened drop. I still hold that true. New fortress, still that one. At least nether spawn can keep me in check, so I can be, like, trying to fly around that waypoint. And I should reload my chunks at this point, because my computer is actually starting to scream. It's the first time it started to scream this entire stream, thankfully. But it is also very upset with me. New fortress, 400 this way. What? What hue? Have I already been to this one as well? Where's the center? There you are. I've already been here. No, I have not. Is there a chest in there? No, there is not. We carry on. Fortress, my dear. Send me. Send me the last piece I need, pretty please. That is all I ask. Hello. You know, I trust in the fortress. I see the path. I trust in the fortress. I may have already been to this one, though. I perhaps have been here. I'm not entirely certain. Because we are merely 400 from the spawn. The question is, where is your... I feel like I recognize this. Where is your staircase? It's a spot right here. Did I break in on this corner? I did not. This looks extremely familiar, but we're gonna trust that it isn't. Boop, boop. That's the best jump scare I've had in a long minute. There's Wither Skelly spawned, so that's not necessarily a great sign that I haven't been here. That's all that is. Are you kidding? Jeez. I'm almost tempted, just for the fun of it, the very last ancient debris, I just go mining for it. Finally let myself mine the last beast after all this time. No, 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 nope, nope. Can't put more into damage. I can put more into knockback. Is that everything? Nope. There's health. Okay. I'm not quite recognizing this one. But I could have gone through it and not realized. I might have very well gone through this one. I feel like I recognize that specific corner. But that could have easily spawned just about anywhere. I think I've been here. No, I don't know. Because I've been through so many of these at this point, it's a little hard to tell, hey, have I actually been through one or not? Unless because I always break into the side now, but at the beginning I didn't. So it makes it a little hard at times. I'm going to safely assume I did not. I'm aware there's a skelly chasing me. I'm not gonna bother. Until I have to. I may have to. I may very well have to. Hold on. He knows how to climb. Oh, that was a quick enough fix. Drink water. Okay, yeah. Yeah. You right. You are so right. No, no. You had 19 health. Come on, die. Thank you. There we go. Also, for some reason, voice and video are off sync. Uh-oh. We sit for a second and let it come on sync? Perhaps? Mayhaps? That's lovely. Hopefully it gets better. I really hope it does. We have one piece of debris to go. I am at level 19. I thought about it. I really just want to let myself mine for it, because I think that'd be fun. Don't know how long it's been like this yet. I'll figure it out. You know what? Give me that ancient debris, come on. It can't be that long of me mining in one singular direction. I'm gonna just mine towards spawn, and I'm bound to find one. Imagine it's been a few hours. Oh no. Well, you would have noticed it earlier, yeah? I'm just gonna mine towards spawn. And whatever happens, happens. If it doesn't, then we'll find a new place. If it does, then that's the end of the challenge. Hello, Billy Bob. That didn't take you long. I changed the sound alerts, but it seems like you've already found the new ones to play with. We have one more piece of debris to go, or optionally, ingot. But I only need one piece of ancient debris or ancient scrap. I only turned back in to tell you to drink water. Still, you were in earlier. Vine boom, yes. I found a bunch of fun meme ones that are nice callbacks. Oh wait, it's 15 that's good for debris, isn't it? Hold on. It's like, 13 are what people mostly go for, but 15's actually the good thing. Oh yeah, I did keep the throw sound, which is now named Fwee. Because that sounds like Fwee. It just does.
Huh?
Huh? Oh, do it, huh? Yeah, huh? Alright. Yeah, that's a huh. Is my armor good? Yeah. Okay. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. Oh, God. I'm not dying to gravel. Yippee! I can't do the voice. It sucks. Yippee! Yippee! There we go. That's the closest you're gonna get from me, unfortunately. Come on. Just good old-fashioned strip mining to spawn. I don't want to use the hammer, I just want to use the pick. I could use the hammer. I could use the hammer. But I'd much prefer this. We're 90 away from spawn, but that might just be height. Seriously? Nothing? That's sad. Aside from lava. I wonder if I just... There's the last piece. That was 2? When did I get another one? That's 3, okay. Trust in the heart of the cards, man. You just gotta trust. I went to spawn and I'm like, I got nothing, and randomly mined, and it gave it to me. Am I under lava? Why am I trying to mine myself out? I have so many more options than this. I don't even need to be here anymore. Give me my warp stone. Let's smelt the last of this. Boop. Boop.
I miss my wife.
Miss my wife, Tails. I miss her a lot.
I'll be back.
I'll be back. I love that so much. Craft, thank you. You gave me more sounds to play with. It's completely maxed out. I have a max of 30 slots. So it's completely maxed out. I didn't like the sounds we had previously, so what I ended up doing for sound alerts, actually, because I am very proud of how I managed to finagle this. What I did for sound alerts, the current sound alerts board, home board, it's just brain rot, and it's not even good brain rot. It's not even funny stuff. There's a few funny ones, but not really. However, there's a soundboard I use for videos, and they have a fantastic homepage still. It's called Instant Sounds or something. Wait, I need to look this up. Hold on. The fart is great. Yes, it is. My Instance is what it's called. It's a fantastic soundboard, and you can download the MP3s for just about anything. And you can also save your favorites. Oh, okay, we're back. So what I did is on my instance, I would jump scare one. It just ended up being really boring after a minute. It just ended up being pretty boring after a minute. So what I did is I went through the My Instance homepage, and I'm like, oh my god, that sound alert, let's add it. Oh my god, I love that sound, that's really funny, I'd love to have that on stream. Searched it on sound alerts, and then added it. Because every single one I searched that was on my instance was also on sound alerts. Because if I play anything, you guys aren't going to hear it because I have my browser muted. But let me turn it on. It's not going to save for the VOD. I'm pretty sure I have it turned off so it doesn't save for VOD, so this won't be on the actual VOD on Twitch or YouTube. But, like, What's a funny one? They have the bruh.
Bruh.
Did I even play?
Bruh.
Yes, I did. Yeah, this is a Discord notification because I thought that'd be funny. There's emotional damage somewhere in the sound alerts. The Mario jump. I don't know what we're using that for, but I think that I just thought that'd be funny to have. This is a random one. This is not one I saw in my instance, but I thought it'd be funny. I did keep 3 Minecraft sounds. We still have 3 of them. We have the Enderman, the zombie,
Emotional damage.
and I added Minecraft footsteps, which luckily there was 1 MP3 for. But yeah. The last piece of scrap. I got extra, but that's fine. I don't care. I can craft this really, really stupid goal of a hammer. Then I need... I have extra. I don't know what I have extra of. I have extra of something. Okay, how do I craft this? I rarely I've crafted this twice. And both times I've regretted it. I think this is my favorite time I've ever crafted it, though. Okay. Oh no, yeah, okay. So we have to start with this netherite hammer, and then block. With crab rave in the background, impact core. Impact core to reinforce core. Okay, I don't need the gold then. We take the impact core we have now, and then surround it with redstone and gold. Take that with a diamond block and more redstone, and take that with 2 diamond blocks and redstone, and then this. The very, very stupid netherite destructor hammer. Which, let's go down to the mines. Does a little something like that. Oh, gold. It's such a stupid goal. But I think it's just so funny to have. Who needs this? Actually, a lot of survival players would love this. Wait, the sound alert out. Actually, a lot of survival players would love this. Oh well. But I have the very stupid hammer through very stupid means. Do not do this at home unless you want to, in which case the mod pack is down below. And if you're on Twitch right now, then it's... Oh, there's also the Twitch. I have the Twitch. This was all streamed. Words. We also have the mod pack on the streams. You can access it. Isn't it exclamation mod pack? Something like that? I think that's the correct thing. It's explanation mod pack we have, it's 1.3. I need to update it to 1.3.1 because Ascendant Mobs was seriously fun for this.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
No, you. Alright, dumb goal achieved! End of video. Fantastic. That took 40 minutes longer than I wanted, but that's probably because of Tort. The stupid cake man. Alright. Okay. Lovely. I have the camera too far down again. There will not be a stream next Sunday, nor this... Why do I even move... every time I move OBS to my main screen, and I never have OBS on my main screen. Today is the 8th, there will be no stream Wednesday, and there will be no stream next Sunday. I am busy this Wednesday and next Sunday, and I'm going to be busy every Sunday until the 29th. So until then, there will only be Wednesday streams. Next stream, we are starting a new run. The 18th of June, we will be starting a new run. I'm adding Advanced Netherite, and I'm gonna try a new origin. I don't know what yet, but we'll figure it out. I might set it to random and see what it gives us. And I can't wait to see you all then. So, thank you for joining me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.